our own purposes as well. Hello, Vince and Steve.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I just realized that I've only got 3 of these meetings left.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're counting down or something there.
Well, it's I mean, it's not that I'm going to start skipping them. It's just that someone else is going to have to run them.
Corey, it looks like you're advertising Jeff Ray's firm.
I know.
Maybe he can use that logo.
Yeah. I saw that the other day. I was like, we're our names are a little close there.
Yeah. We'll see if he notices. Pretty good. I like it.
Well, Jeff, I didn't update my email address for Jeff until like yesterday, so I may have sent him a lot of messages that he didn't get. Right.
I think he's still checking.
But he knows about
his
this one.
Old email.
Okay.
So
I was just giving him an out. I haven't heard that much from him.
well,
But if
Jeff, he did send a message that he was not going to make it today, I think.
Oh, really? I didn't see that.
Let me double check. Make sure who I got that from. I thought it was from Jeff. Oh, he only copied me on it. Oh no.
Okay.
Well, wait a second. It's not that email. Yeah, he sent it today, about an hour ago. He said he would not be able to make the call, but he did send a copy of last month's minutes.
Oh, let me see if I got that. Oh, yeah. Oh. Okay, yeah. Well, I see that now. I hadn't checked. Hold on a second. Well, I don't think we should approve the minutes on that short.
What's required for quorum
Oh,
anyhow?
do we have a quorum? We probably don't. I've been told, and I've been holding on to the belief that a quorum exists unless the absence of one is suggested by one of those present. And you just did that, Corey. Yeah, I don't really think we've got a quorum here, but let me just kind of run through the couple of things I wanted to talk about. Well, let's just go through the agenda anyway. We're going to dispense with the reading of the minutes or approval of the minutes because we don't have a quorum. The risk management guidelines that Adam compiled are, I think he's a 10, and it was like from Los Angeles down to no, I'm sorry, the short-term rental regulations. Let me back up here. The risk management guidelines, we have a meeting on Tuesday with the chair of with the agent who covers the members of the ASLA. That's who it is. Henry Oltetti. And in doing the peer review, I think the ASLA is probably the best model for us to copy. Although the Canadian Institute of Planners has a very wide range of coverages. They cover people who are brought up for ethics violations, which would be really interesting in the APA if anytime someone was charged with an ethics violation, he could bring an attorney with him to hold up his end of it. I don't know how that would fly with the APA, but it's interesting. And what's interesting about the ASCE is that they have little like 2-minute videos for anything bad that might happen to you. So even if you're not on a construction site and a crane hasn't collapsed onto the adjoining property, it's still interesting because it covers so many different things in an interesting way. But the one that's closest is the ASLA. And the ASLA agent has written a policy for Jeff, I believe, Jeff Ray, professional liability insurance policy. So he can plug right in. And the attorney for the ASLA, or the attorney that handles liability or risk management for the ASLA, I haven't connected with them yet, but I went on the website and they said, oh yeah, we do, webinars and seminars and everything all the time. So I need to hook up. What I want to do is hook up with them, and then we could have a workshop with this agent for the ASLA, to talk about liability insurance, and the attorney who handles risk management for the ASLA can talk about risk management guidelines for design professionals, which is what they cover. And we're a design professional, just like the ASLA or the AIA or one of those groups. And then we'd have Jeff as kind of like the, what do you call it? One of us, and how he interacts with it as as a user. And that would be our workshop. So everything is moving. It's just moving kind of slow. And I'm starting to think that there should be a whole new set of project management guidelines for pro bono work, because it's all different when when you don't, when it's done, when you're fitting it in between the cracks. There's a lot, it's a lot more flexible. But as long as we keep moving forward, I think we'll be fine. And I think that there's a crying need for this. We got an inquiry within the last month or so from someone who's not a PPD member, but wanted a standard contract language. And I referred him to the ASLA website, which has you can buy a standard contract, or you can buy a set of contract guidelines for $25 from the ASLA. You don't have to be a member or anything. So we're already helping people, even though we don't have any deliverables yet. So I think it's going well. That's A. The B, the short-term rental regulations database. Adam Rush compiled about 10, and I went out and found a planner right here in Duval County, city of Jacksonville Beach. Jacksonville Beach, I think 50% of their occupied units are short-term rentals, I think. And so it's covered pretty well, and they have a lot of issues with state preemption. So it's a good a set of guidelines or regulations that a lot of people would do well to copy. And it's very thorough within the constraints imposed by the state preemption. So that's a good database. I put it in the newsletter, and the same morning that the newsletter went out, I got, I think, 4 requests for copies of the regulations. So, Corey, I'd like to figure out a way that we can put the database on the website with a link to the website. And perhaps we could do it in a way that would make the database available to non-members, where you only have to go through the APA firewall to get it instead of going through the private practice firewall. Is that something that could be done? You're muted.
If it goes to the APA firewall, it has to go through ours as well. That's the way that's set up. So it'd have to be for our members only.
We can do that.
Otherwise, it'd just be publicly available. Anybody could get it, member or not, member of APA or not.
Okay. Well, I'm thinking that my friend who's from Jacksonville Beach, I don't want to open her up to getting. I mean, if someone reads it as the regulations of the city of Jacksonville Beach, I don't want 50 people calling the planning director for the city of Jacksonville Beach. So, yeah, I'll check with her and I'll check with Adam, and then we could put the database in a file on the website so that members of the private practice division can download it, put it that way. And we can use it just like we did the handbook. Say, do you want it? Join the APA, $25, or join the PPD. So that'd be fine. We can do that. And but it's interesting because we got a voicemail. Well, someone from Hilton Head, Brad, called the APA customer service, and APA customer service referred it to the private practice division, and then Adam stepped up, and we have a database now that that is, I think it's useful to a lot of people, maybe more useful or more widely useful than the handbook would be. So yeah, we could use this as our next marketing tool, and even for the it helps to know that people are reading the updates. We got direct. It's like putting a coupon in a newspaper. You get to know who your customers are. So I recognize two of the names, but not all of them, all of the four. But it's kind of, I don't want to say inspiring, reaffirming to know that people read the newsletter and respond to the items that are in it. That's I think that's good for everybody. So yeah, I'll talk to Adam. I want to put something about the risk management guidelines and maybe whatever it comes up with, the short-term rental regulations, into the First Friday notice, which goes to all of the division chairs. So we can set it up so it says, hey, we got this, and it's on. You can download it from our website, but you got to be a PPD member to have access to it. And sure, that's a good way to build our membership up. Of course, they may be a member only as long as it takes to download it. I mean, I've got what are called streaming services like that. You wait for 10 episodes to build up, you sign up for HBO Max, and then you quit. So we could get members like that too. But anyway, that's kind of where that goes. Succession planning update. Really need to talk to Jeff about that. And I have a feeling that Jeff is working on his own succession plans right now. So it might take a while to come around on that. But yeah, Corey, you got that thing about the communications share. I think that's the biggest hole that we have, the biggest opening we have if you're moving up the ladder. We definitely need a new communications chair, and with I saw in your thing you put 3 hours a month. I'll take you did 3 hours a month on Zoom. So I don't know. Uh, that's maybe a little what do you call it?
Scope creep.
Yeah, scope creep. Yeah, that's what you call it. Yeah. You can do it in 3 hours, can't you? Sure, I can do that in 3 hours, 30 hours later. But yeah, that's exactly what it is. But anyway, well done. We'll see if we get anybody and break the truth through to them. But yeah, and we will find out more. Jeff and I will be both spending the second weekend of November in Phoenix, and the all of the chair elects. That's a great idea. Are are going to be there with the chairs, hopefully, so that we can have a smooth handoff instead of what we had been doing, which is a big long webinar or whatever in January or February. Here's what you need to do. So, Brad, you're the new secretary treasurer, is that right? Or you're the new secretary, and then
Secretary, not treasurer. Yeah.
what's the name of the treasurer?
Tanya.
Tanya. Because she's going to be, she's going to have to hit the ground running in terms of, because the treasurer is it's kind of an active position. So we'll take notes for Tanya. And
Have we reached out to her yet? Because we may want to just add her to these last couple of.
I have to.
I was thinking that also. Yeah.
That's a good point. And Dina has sent congratulatory messages to everybody, who won and lost. I have not. So let me put that on my list of things to do. Just also Bob Barber. I know he wants to play an active role in the PPD leadership, and I can't think of someone who would be I'd rather have in an active role in PPD leadership. He was the chair of the chapter president's council. I mean, he's done all kinds of stuff with APA leadership, and he would be a really good guy to plug in. He has this collaborative firm, the Orion Group, which we all could learn a lot from, I think. So I'll try to get a dialogue established with them, but I wanted to see I wanted to coordinate that with Jeff. So let me plan to talk to Jeff, and then we'll go on and talk to Tanya and Bob Barber. Are those the only unassigned, are the only people that ran in the election and don't have that we haven't spoken with? I think they might be. Find out. Okay. Well, anyway, yeah, that's I got to follow up with Jeff. We can start inviting Tanya and see what Bob Barber wants to do.
Steve, I had a question for you.
Sure.
In terms of volunteers, we had talked very briefly at I think our last board meeting about the one planner who had called me from Tool Design. His name's Ernie Bowman, and I've been in contact with him a couple of times. Since I'm going to be starting fresh on new programs for next year, I could use his help. But I thought you mentioned in one of our previous meetings that you might need his help on another project. Do you want to speak to him about that, or do you want me to just call him and make sure he's still interested in helping us?
Could you set up a three-way conversation,
Okay.
and then I can, yeah, I'd like to meet him. I think he'd be a real asset. I mean, and there's a lot to do on professional development. I don't want to take him away from that role, but see, just we need to just check in with him. I'd really
Okay.
like to meet him anyway.
I'll set
Yeah,
up
so
a-
if you could do the legwork and set something up, that'd be great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right. Okay, so that's succession planning. I sent out a copy of the 2024 performance report. I haven't heard anything from up above about the performance report, but the performance report is due in a month. And it's been the last two that I've done have been really hard because we did the work plan and the budget at the same time. But we already have a work plan and budget, so I'm hoping that the performance report this year won't be too difficult. But it is a chance for us to toot our horn. So if anybody's got something that you want to celebrate or brag about, this would be a good time to send that to me. We'll have to do a membership report, which basically says how, whether we've grown or not. So I need Adam for that. And then a financial report that I'll need from Jeff goes in there too. But the wrinkle there is that the APA website is virtually shut down until for the rest of this month because they're migrating to a new website, and I think it may be hard to get the data that we need to do the performance report to find out. Okay, so that's that. Universal membership is another thing that we had a meeting, and I said there were questions. One of the suggestions was that the APA develop some kind of a PowerPoint that you could present to chapters, and we've done that with the Michigan chapter and the Florida chapter. Why you should belong to a division, and we had this thing where talking about all the things that we're going to do, and I said, well, what about a PowerPoint for the chapters? And he said, oh, that's a great idea, and that's all I've got. Great idea. So they need to work on promoting universal division membership to potential division members, and we need to make sure that we get. I think we had a good write-up in the last two updates about why the PPD is the one to pick, but we'll see how that goes. I know a message went out about grants, but I really, frankly, haven't read it yet. But we're in a new grant cycle because it's October 1st. Has come. So we're in a new fiscal year, new grant cycle. And Corey, when we get down to committee updates, you can tell us what's going on with Capizzi Design. And then I already mentioned that Jeff and I are going to the Phoenix leadership meetings. So, Vince, you want to give us a rundown on professional development and where we are?
Sure. We've got 3 programs coming up in the near future. Next Friday is a conversation. The title is Legal Tips and Tricks for Private Sector Planners or Planners in Private Practice. I forget exactly how we worded it. Our guest speaker is Max Mahalek, who we've had several conversations with. And he's an attorney with Cuddy and Feder in White Plains, New York. And he is also the chair of the Planning and Law Division. So we're looking forward to that. And our last conversation will be December 5th, meet your new board. So we'll organize a small agenda and speaking parts and all that. We have plenty of time to do that.
Hey, Vince, the
yeah.
speaker next week, since he's the law division, I wonder if that goes well and if he's well prepared and stuff, maybe that would be a good webinar so that we could then PPD members could get law credits, because sometimes either law or ethics credits are hard to get online and stuff, and maybe be thinking about that, because I know to get like law credits you have to be an attorney, and the fact that he's an attorney, wonder if we could turn it into a webinar. So something to think about anyway.
Okay, that's a really good idea. You know what? I'll have a conversation with them about how I'm sure they're certified. Well, I can't say that for APA, yes, but I'm wondering if the Bar Association recognizes them for their credits, the P&L division. But yeah, that question just came to my mind when you mentioned that. I'll certainly look into that. Thank you.
I think just gut reaction is that all of the law sessions that I've attended are by attorneys speaking to public sector planners. It's like, here's how the law, here's why we can't do this, or here's why we have to do that kind of stuff. And I think putting it on the private practice side is like how to use a land use attorney to get what you want is kind of the opposite of every other law session I've ever seen. So this could be a very interesting webinar if we did it.
Yeah.
You kind of lean into the things that drive planners crazy on behalf of the things that.
And we could also talk about being an expert witness
Mhm.
on either side, but an expert witness and how you get prepared. So that might be also draw people into the webinar. So.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I to tell you, I love being an expert witness. Everyone else is like, you're cringing and you're scared and you're going to say something wrong, but it's the opposite. So, in a judicial setting, as opposed to a quasi-judicial setting, the constraints are much tighter, and you're not going to get blindsided the way you might at a normal public meeting. It's really cool. So anyway, yeah, I've enjoyed the hell out of the depositions that I've given.
All
It's
right.
and
So, okay. So Brad, just to make sure that we're all on the same page, was your question geared towards making this a webinar in the future and, beefing it up a little bit, since we're only an hour on this one, we probably need an hour and a half. I don't know what the Bar Association rules are, but ours are usually an hour and a half. Well, not all the time.
Yeah. And even if it's just for APA, because to get the law credits, you have to have an attorney.
You have to
And
have,
if he's
right.
good, we could kind of expand it, and we could even use the conversation to see what the people that join, what are they really interested in. That could help form the webinar, and see if if it goes well, and see if he's interested. Maybe we can make it a webinar for next year.
yeah, you could in the conversation you could make ask Max to set aside some time to ask people what they would like to see in a full format webinar.
All right, good idea.
Yeah, we kind of embrace the black hat. That's what I'm saying.
That could be the title, right? Okay.
Wear it proudly.
And then, where am I? Oh, yes, November 21st. Thank you again to Brad for hanging in there really this whole year, helping me on these programs. We have a webinar, and it is I forget the exact title we're using, but it's on RFPs. And Chip Smith, the municipal operations director for Wade Trim, has agreed to be our speaker.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
brought to us by a friend and colleague of Brad's. Brad made an inquiry and she worked on it. And in less than 8 hours, we had Chip booked as a speaker. And I've been in contact with him. He's looking forward to it. That's November 21. We have, and that's firm from Christine Davis at Ohio Planning. So I will talk to her. I'm working on the data sheet for her, which has the bios and the title and all of that. Brad, when you were speaking, and I apologize, I forget her name.
Caitlin.
Caitlin, right. Is there another organization here that or division that might be interested in co-sponsoring this with us?
No, so in Michigan we have, it's called Planners in Private Practice, PIPP. It's like a statewide version of PPD, and Caitlin is the chair of that. I used to be the chair of that, and they participated. So I think she could help advertise it in Michigan, just like we could
that'd be
maybe
great.
have other chapters do that. And then I don't know if Steve has or Corey can get access to, but we did this RFP webinar a couple years ago, and there is a webinar PowerPoint that Chip could use or others could use, or I could look at it too, but I don't have a copy of it. It was at my old employer, so I don't know if you can, Vince, if you can dig that out or see if Corey or Steve has a copy of it that we could send to Chip and give him a base.
Yeah, I do not have a copy of it. I looked the other day and I don't have a copy of it. So
There is an old one from like 2015, not the one that Brad did on RFPs. That was on the website before we updated it.
I might have that. So let me look. I didn't look at the old websites.
And I'll look around to see if I can dig it out, or if John Enos or one of the other speakers has a copy of it, or even maybe Christine has a copy of it. So
I'm migrating to a new computer over the weekend, and who knows what will fall out of the one that I have. I mean, it's
okay. No, I appreciate that. Well, if you have it, please let me know.
Okay.
And I can get it off the Chip. And then just one more thing. Steve, you and I, when we had a conversation a few weeks ago, when I was giving you the rundown on the programs I just talked about, I just want to assure that you're okay with leaving it at that and not worrying about squeezing in a webinar around the holidays. And
no. I think everything just kind of goes splat after Thanksgiving. There's nothing.
Okay. All right. Because we had originally planned for one on sustainability, and maybe I'll work on that and lead off with that for next year.
Also, don't forget Dan Paralek. He wants to do something about the private sector, and after listening to Aaron Purdue, I think it would be very timely, because one thing that didn't come up in that conversation, and I was kind of biting my tongue, was that Dan is very annoyed that there were no private sector planners on the task force, the Housing Supply Accelerator Task Force. And I do think that, based on our own experience with the conversations that's sort of revolving around the Housing Supply Accelerator and what questions that Owen has been raising, that affordable housing is not a question, in my view, of just opening up the spigot. And I'm concerned that the APA seems to think that it is. There are so many things that are beyond the scope of planners that affect affordable housing, it's somehow or other, I think we're missing the real story here. And I hope that maybe we can get Dan Paralek to kind of talk about how there's, the other forces that are at work. And I think that planners in private practice are more aware of those forces than the guy who's, running the planning commission meetings or, working as a planner for a local government might not realize. So, yeah, I think if we can get Dan Paralek lined up in the springtime
I
sometime,
will.
that would be sometime
Yeah.
before the conference. That would be good.
I'll work on that. I have not forgotten about that. So he's on top of the
Okay.
list. I do have a question. I apologize, and then I'll keep quiet. Last winter, I was blessed when you asked me to take over this role and work with Brad, Steve. There was an agenda of programs, really for the whole year, topics, and then we go out and we perfect it and get the speaker, and you all know that. How did that come about? Did the board just throw ideas at Brad and then you came up with a list, or did it evolve like week by week or month by month?
We had 2 or 3 different lists that sort of came together.
Okay.
I had a list and Brad had a list, and then we had
And Corey had a list.
Corey had a list. That's right. And there was we also used the record of previous conversations to suggest but that's all been compiled now. I mean, you can look at I have that. All of the conversations that we've had and and see what, and they cycle through, you can do the, we don't retain our members for very long. I mean, so you could do something, that's been done 5 or 6 years ago, and you'd probably have a whole new audience for it.
Yeah. All right. So if you have no objection, I'll take a crack at it and work with those.
Please, definitely.
List. Yeah.
Put something together, and if it's like the other one, that there'll be a lot of you'll get a lot of input, put it that way.
All right.
But you got to put something out there for other people to add and subtract on. So yeah, if you can get that ball rolling, that would be great.
I will.
And if we had something, by the end of this year that would carry us through 2026, that would be great. But that a lot of it is, it changes on a short-term basis. I mean, the way the conversations are, there's much more structure than they had been. But that's all to the good. So okay. So that's professional development. Where are we on our grant now, Corey?
For our grant, we'll have that kickoff in early November, and the first phase of work will be done for Christmas.
Wow.
So at that point, it would be, we are under contract with her to do more phases, but they're each approximately $1,000 each phase is. So the grant's only paying for $1,000 at a time. So we would either need to apply for a second grant or use our reserve funds to continue.
Okay. Well, who knows how much money we're going to have? I mean, it's the whole thing is up in the air with the universal membership. But
Do you think it'd be appropriate for us to look at applying for grant? You said a new cycle just came out, so.
Oh yeah, definitely. Apply for, if you apply for it in October, you may get it in next September. Who knows? You might get lucky.
Would you send me the information and?
Yeah, sure.
For the new application.
I'll forward you the message from Deborah Myerson, and
Okay.
that yeah, I'll definitely do that. Okay, and then membership, I don't know. Adam is the membership chair. Uh, I think with the universal membership, it's kind of hard to tell where we're going to end up in, 5 or 6 months. But it's supposed to, it cycles through on a quarterly basis. Um, so as with each renewal cycle, there will be more people who fall in the category of universal membership. But it should be gradual over the course of the next year, November 25 to November 26. So it may not affect us. And I don't know if we're going to go up and down. Every time I think we're going to go way up, that we're stuck at like 330 paying members no matter what we do. So we'll see. And a financial report, that's Jeff. I assume that we're okay, but I think he's having trouble accessing financial reports from the APA, and that's got something to do with the transition to the new website. So that gets us all the way through. And
I got one quick thing, Steve. So Jeremy Windsor from AECOM here in Detroit and I are coordinating with the Transportation Planning Division. So PPD, Transportation Planning, and the Michigan WTS will have a reception at the APA conference in Detroit. So I met with Jeremy for lunch on Wednesday, and he's scouting out locations, and he'll coordinate with that with us and the Transportation Planning Division. And we're looking at either the same location or near the Michigan Planning Group, the PIP that I mentioned earlier, so that we'll be either in the same building or hopefully within a same block or two, so that people can go from one to the other, or maybe even like a joint session. And we did have talked to them about sponsorship, because our group had talked about sponsorship. So I think the PPD, or the Transportation Planning Division, is interested in sponsorships. They've just never used one before because it's already in their budget. So anyway, I just want you to know that we're working on location and continuing that coordination for the conference in April of 2026. So
I think we could get sponsors.
yeah,
But
that's what I think.
when I suggested to TPD last year that we get sponsors, they kind of said, no, they didn't want sponsors.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure, how that's going to play out. I know other divisions charge like $10, $20 to get in. And we were planning to do that last year, and it just didn't work out that we did.
Yeah.
And we were concerned also about what do you call it? Open access, if you will. And we got all these things so that we can cap the attendance. And then when the night came, and I was being the bastard about it, the Transportation Planning Division was saying, "Oh yeah, come on in, come on in." I was giving people a hard time at the same time that they were letting people in. So in the end, it's probably it is the most enjoyable part of the conference for me is the joint reception with the Transportation Planning Division. It's also the most enlightening. I mean, there's just all these little, clatches of 2 or 3 or 4 people. It's a great event. I can't imagine anybody having a better reception than the ones that we've been having over the past 2 or 3 years. They're really fun, and more than fun, I pick up a lot of stuff, very interesting information. So, and we get all these students who come in because they're students. I mean, and there's beer, but but that adds a whole, what do you call it, a leavening to the event. You see all these young people coming in. And
Yeah, so I think the idea of sponsorships, they're interested in chatting about it, but they feel financially they don't really need it, and it might discourage people from coming. So they're interested in maybe putting it out there to see if people want to help sponsor it, but they're not going to like publicize it. And they're, because we're just a small part of the cost, they're taking most of the cost, and I think they financially feel that they can afford it. So
I mean, it's a great way to spend $1,000 in my view. I mean,
yeah.
in terms of what we get out of it, it's they've done almost all of the heavy lifting up to this point, and even that there have been years, maybe not recently, where we said we want to do this and this and this, and they said they just did it. Um, it's. But that's fine. They're the largest division in the APA, and they get a lot of people, and we get to to mingle with a lot of people because they're the largest division. So and I know other divisions are struggling, with it. So I think we just need to ride the horse that we're on. But yeah, I'm very much in favor of sponsorships. Um, as far as restricted access, we really haven't had a problem. We've worried about it, but it's never really come up where we ran out of beer or anything. So I don't know. To me, it's just a great event. And the TPD said that when they get survey responses, what did you like most about the conference? They usually say the reception. So, I think it's turned into something really nice. We get, Paul Farmer's there. I mean, the people who come to our reception are the people that you wouldn't be bold enough to invite. I mean, they just show up. It's a great thing.
Yeah, I think if we can just promote it maybe a little bit more, because it is a great opportunity. And like in Michigan, we have this PIPP, and I think we could tell them, come to our reception too, because a lot of them are at a different reception. That's why we're trying to cluster them, and then have some of those groups come over. And I don't know if other states, some of the other states that have a lot of consultants, if they have a statewide organization we could reach out to and really promote it. So I don't know, but
Well, Florida has a big reception, but it's not nearly as much fun as ours. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, thinking more, are there like private practice groups? Are there other states that have a lot of private? Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I know there are a lot of PPD members in Florida, but we haven't. Well, we actually at the 2020 conference we had a session at the conference on divisions, but we haven't explicitly reached out to the chapter in the past.
Think about that. And I'd asked Divya from ACOM, who's the chair of the group or something for Transportation Planning Division, how many people we should expect, because when we were in San Diego and Philadelphia, we had people kind of sign in, and we kept track of at least some of them. But in Denver, they decided not to have people sign in and just open it up like you said, but they felt that we had like 100 to 120, so it was a pretty big group. So
yeah, but they did not run out of beer. I mean, we had tickets to hand out at the end.
yeah.
The access was not a problem. Maybe, I mean, frankly, the site was I couldn't find it on the first 2 or 3 tries in Denver, and that might have helped. I don't know, but when we got there, it was great. So if we put it on a street corner or across the street from the main entrance to the conference, we might have a problem. But we did not have a problem in Minneapolis or in Denver.
Yeah, and the places in Detroit are all several blocks away from the conference. There's nothing really right around the conference center. So
okay, well that might be good. One year we were talking about having it and when it was in New York, we were talking about having it at the Mets game, and the Transportation Planning Division said, "You're crazy if you think people will go that far to go to a reception. It's just, it's not the way people move."
Mhm.
So I would say on the basis of that you need to be, pretty close, as close as you can get
Yeah,
to.
we have the old train station, like the 12-story old train station that was rehabbed, and it could be a great event. A couple other divisions are having their reception there, but it's a long walk or an Uber ride or something. There's not really good transit, so I don't think that that's a good location. So Jeremy and I talked about something within like 5 or 6 blocks of the conference center. So
I have never been to Detroit. It's hard for me to get oriented, but I have two friends who went to the big deal when they opened up that Michigan Central, and they were both raving about it. And I have to tell you that the hype video that they showed at the end of the conference in Denver um, made Detroit enormously appealing. It's like, man, I got to see that. I mean, it was fantastic. When we move, you move, I think is what they said. So that's what a great slogan, man. It was fantastic. Okay. Well, anyway, we used up a whole hour without a quorum. Who knows how long this would have taken um, otherwise. But we got everything. I've said everything I want to say, and then it's in a transcript, and then Jeff will find out about it because he has to write it up. So, hi, Jeff. Um, we'll sort of dump that on him. You don't want to miss a meeting because then you'll wind up doing everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we got a lot of people that are going to be stuck with what we've given them to do. In the meantime, yeah, first thing I'll do today, Corey, I'll forward you the message about about grant opportunities, so we get that done. Okay, I think we're about ready to adjourn. Thank you all. I think we had a good meeting, few in the proud, and we'll take it from here. Okay, take care.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.